Okay, so good evening, folks. I'm not sure if you can see me. My screen would appear to be frozen, so I can't see anybody, and I'm not sure if I can hear him. Is Simon there? Hello.
Yes, mate. Yeah. Hello, mate. You're fine on the live.
Okay, so my screen's
on the live feed.
Okay, so my screen's. Okay, sorry about that, folks. There we go. Welcome to another show, another IT issue, but we're only learning all this, and I can't see a soul because my screen is frozen. But hey, hopefully we'll sort that out as the show progresses. What we got in store for you tonight? Well, we got quite a bit. We got our guest coming up shortly. It is Nigel Callaghan, Watford, Villa, Derby, and I'm sure he's had a little bit of experience abroad as well. And at a battle, a brush with health as well, which we'll talk about shortly and dig into his career. So that'd be great. What else we've got coming up on the show tonight for you? Well, we've got FA Cup. Wow, come on, innit? This year been fantastic. What can we say about the FA Cup? Fourth rounds, third round was absolutely fantastic. Fourth round, it's proven to be just the same. Some magnificent things to talk about there coming up in the second half of the show. We've got a non-league roundup, which will be FA Vars, FA Trophy. We're going to have a little look back to what we did Saturday with our new proper football away days at Histon Town. And then we got things like Derby, Kurt Zuma. We're going to have to touch on that a little bit, aren't we? So lots coming up in the show. But let's get the team involved. Simon, Dan, how you been?
All good. It's been a great weekend of FA Cup football again, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. Hope you lads are well. Yeah, love the FA Cup. My team got through as well. Not sure how your two teams got on, but
well, come on, Watford weren't even in it. Behave yourself.
Oh, weren't you? Oh, so I forgot about it.
Right. So, what you been doing yourself this week, then, Dan?
I've been driving my trains, mate. Learning a new route down to Portsmouth. So, been just busy with all the proper football stuff. Writing a couple of
articles. Wrong turns.
No wrong turns. Not yet. No.
Good.
Missed any stations?
No. Not I've been told.
What have you been doing this week, Simon?
Just been busy doing all sorts this week, but preparing myself for a nice weekend down in Bristol. So going down tomorrow. Looking forward to that.
Cool.
Oh, Mansfield Town.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So I'm finding this really strange because I can't see nothing. So I think what I'm going to do, we're going to bring Nigel on, and guys, we're going to start having a chat with Nigel. While we're having a chat with Nigel, I'm probably going to duck out and come back in if that's all right with you guys.
Yeah.
So let's get Nigel on. Nigel, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello,
how you doing, guys?
Yeah, how are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, all good.
Been a while since we spoke. It's great having you coming on the show. So as I said, I'm going to duck off the show in a minute, but because I can't see a thing, so I'm going to duck off and come on. But yeah, thanks for coming on. So for those of you who maybe not familiar with Nigel, part of Graham Taylor's golden years back in the 80s. Had a spell at Villa, played at Derby, and we'll be talking about Derby a little bit later as well in the show, second half. But Nigel, let's kick off. I'm going to hand you over to Dan and Simon, and I know they're intrigued on talking about your footballing career. So, guys, if you want to do that, I'm going to dive off.
Yeah, no problem. I'll look for you to come back on, Gary.
Thank you. See you in a bit, folks.
Right.
Hello, Nigel.
Hi, how you doing? You right?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Great, thanks for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it. I remember you from the 80s and stuff. Thought you was a great player, mate. And I know you played for, as Gary just said, Watford, Derby, Villa, and England under 21s. What's your, out of all of them clubs, what was your best moments? Your best time?
Probably say that the Derby and Watford days were my best days. Didn't have a good time at Villa really, but the Watford days were special because sort of Elton took over the club. And then he brought Graham Taylor in, and then he decided that the way forward was to get the youth academy going to produce young players to get into the first team. And that's what happened. They set up a real good youth setup, and I was part of that. And it allowed players like me, John Barnes, Kenny Jackett, Steve Terry, all them players to come through. So there were special days at Watford, and plus, like, we got promoted from the second to the first, and then it was the first division. We got runners up in it, and then it's UEFA Cup, and then the FA Cup final. So there was a lot of things going on at Watford at the time.
Yeah, was that when John from there at the start, was he, or did he come in?
He bought the club, and then he brought Graham Taylor in as manager.
Right.
And then, I was probably training. I think I was probably about 11, 12 years old. I was training in the car park. That's where they used to have the youth training sessions, because they didn't have a training ground where they could take us to. So we played on a concrete car park. But as soon as Graham Taylor came in, he brought in Tom Wally, who's an absolute brilliant coach. And Tom got hold of everything. The youth setup got put up, and the players started coming in, and luckily we all got chances to get in the first team.
Right.
Someone needs to deal with their dog.
Sorry?
Can you not hear a dog barking?
It's not my dog.
Not mine.
Not mine.
It normally
Yours,
people,
yeah.
been on
What was it like? What was it like meeting Elton John? It must have been a bit of an amazing moment. Or was you in awe, starstruck, or?
Yeah, he was first time, but he was he's really down to earth, to be honest. Every time he used to come to the club, because a lot of the time he was away on business, but when he was in the country, he liked to see as many matches as he could. And he'd always come into the dressing room first, say hello to the lads. He'd go into the players' lounge, say hello to the wives, girlfriends, families, and then once he'd done all that, he'd go up into the director's box. But yeah, he was one of the lads. We were lucky. We had a chance to get to know the guy really good, because we'd done a tour of China, which was approximately just over 2 weeks, I think. And he actually come on the whole tour of China. So we had the press there, we had the cameras, but during that time we got a chance to know him properly, as a person, not as a superstar. And he's a really good bloke.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, you've already touched on Graham Taylor. How was it working under him? What was your relationship like with him?
Well, I don't think Zuma would have done what he done if he'd been playing for Graham Taylor, because we had standards in them days, and you knew what you could do and what you couldn't do. And again, you knew that you was representing the club wherever you went and whatever you done. And basically, nobody stepped out of line with Graham. He just, I don't know how he done it, but he seemed to know everything that went on in Watford and outside of Watford. So, you'd probably have to go to Scotland to get out of range of his spies that he's got out there. But yeah, you knew where you stood with Graham, but it was very much he was right and you was wrong. You do what he says, and he'll get you results.
Yeah. I mean, you worked under Ron Atkinson as well. I bet that was a bit different.
Sorry, say that again?
You worked under Ron Atkinson as well. I bet that was a bit different, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd rather not speak about Ron, to be honest.
Right, okay, fair enough.
No, he wasn't a nice person, when you put it that way.
Right. Malcolm Allison was managing Bristol Rovers for a bit. He had a bit of a falling out with Ron as well. So
yeah, he's
arrogant. Fall out with.
I think he's arrogant,
Right.
and I feel he probably has wound a lot of people up. But you've got to get respect off players if you want them to play for you.
Yeah.
And I didn't have no respect for him. So, that year that was probably my last year as a Villa player. I'd had enough by then, because I got fed up of being treated the way I was. But Graham Taylor was hard, but he was fair. And you knew that he'd give you praise if you done well, and you knew that you'd probably get a bollocking if you didn't.
Yeah.
And you don't mind doing that. When people are consistent, you don't mind that. And I think there's certain players in football back in my day that managers, like Arthur Cox was a really good man management manager. You've got to know the players that you can put your arms around and say, come on, you're a better player than that. And then there's other players that need a good kick up the arse and they'll respond to it. And I was probably one of them.
Yeah. It's all about the game, isn't it? What's the best player you've ever played against?
Best player I played against? Without doubt.
God knows what that noise is.
Without doubt, probably Kenny Dalglish. Genius.
Right.
Best 2-footed player I've ever seen in my life is Gordon Cowans. Absolutely brilliant. But Dalglish was a master. He was just. They scored a goal against Watford when we played at Anfield. He turned Steve Sims. Sims he had to pay to get back into the ground. And then he put Ian Rush through, and Rushy's hit it first time. And I just felt like clapping. It was such a good goal, but I know if I did, I'd have got taken off.
Yeah. I might have got the ump stood there watching it as well. Did you play with Cowans? Where did you played with him, didn't you?
Yeah, I played with him at Aston Villa.
Yeah,
he's unbelievable. He was really into his golf. He used to go for a round of golf before training, and then he'd have another 9 holes after training. So
did he
God knows what time.
Was he in Escape to Victory, Gordon Cowans? I'm not getting that mixed up with.
I don't recall him in that. No.
One with the Ipswich players. I'm sure Gordon Cowans was in that. I might be wrong. You didn't get asked to go in that film, Nigel, did you?
Franz Torresson was in it when he escaped the victory.
Who was?
Franz Torresson, when he in that escaped the victory. There was a couple of Dutch lads in it, weren't they? There was a couple of Dutch lads in escaped the victory.
He was a cultured midfielder, wasn't he, Gordon Cowans? When he's like in the middle of the park.
Yeah, he used to play left midfield, didn't he? Sort of left centre. Great player. You could play Gordon anyway. He was that naturally gifted 2-3 player that, stick him on the right or the left and it's easy for him.
What's the best goal you've go on, Gary, you can carry on.
You go.
I was just going to say, what was your favourite goal you scored yourself, and maybe what you saw on the pitch as well?
I scored quite a few good goals because I used to hit them from outside the box. I got a goal against Man City from about 35 yards out. That's one of my favourites. I got a goal at Kaiserslautern, which that's one of my favourite goals. And probably the one at Newcastle, first game of the season for Watford.
Right. And
Derby, I got a few good goals at Derby. The last game of the season at Derby when we beat Plymouth. I've run the whole length of the pitch and scored second goal that puts you in front there. So there's a lot of good goals that stick out. I never used to get many tap-ins.
So, Nigel, we're going to be catching up on the 4th round of the FA Cup. It's been an astonishing FA Cup this year, to be fair. The upset, seeing the underdogs winning in every round has been fantastic. But, mate, obviously, back in the day, the FA Cup was so special to everyone. You were part, obviously, of the 1984 FA Cup squad that lost to Everton 2-0. Just what was that like? The whole build-up. What was that like to be part of the old Wembley of an FA Cup team and coming out of the tunnel and everything?
It was really mad because the whole week leading up to the FA Cup, you've got the cameras at your training ground. I think on the Thursday or Friday, we had Saint and Greavesy there. Then on the Saturday, you sort of wake up and we go out for a walk, get our heads right, come back into the hotel for a pre-match meal. And then we had Michael Barrymore at our hotel, and I think they had Freddie Starr. And then you sort of have your pre-match meal and you get your team talk. And the side's named, obviously. Then you get on the coach and you're on your way to Wembley. And the whole build-up sort of seems to take ages to get there. Then you get out on the pitch and within 90 minutes, you've lost the game and you sort of, you don't know where to put yourself, really. If you'd won it, it'd be different. But we was lucky. We we couldn't lose even when we did lose, because it was the first time Watford had ever done that, and the crowd were absolutely brilliant. You know, I think everybody enjoyed the day out, and the next day in the town centre, we'd done the tour. You'd have thought we'd have won the cup. So it was brilliant. You know, it didn't feel like we'd lost. The supporters were that good.
I mean, do you know what? I think what's wrong with these mics? I sound like a Dalek. Is that any better? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, you sound all right to me.
We're doing something wrong with these mics. Right. Okay. So, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And if you remember, Nigel, obviously, you know, you as the losing side, you actually were able to do a lap of honour. You actually got to go round, and there ain't many sides have done that. And I remember, to a man, every Watford fan stayed in the ground that day, and it was, from a fan point of view, it was amazing, absolutely amazing. And when I think to what I experienced against Man City the other year, you know, just that was ridiculous, and it just wasn't the same, and that was such a shame, because 1984 was so special. But no, it's interesting, mate.
I think it was a fact that, like I said, we done a lot of things that the club had never ever achieved. You know, finishing second to Liverpool and getting into Europe for the first time, and FA Cup final for the first time. I think as much as us sort of achieving what we achieved, the fans were there with every minute of the way that we went. You know, they were with us all the way from the beginning to the end, and I think that's what's made it so special, really.
Yeah, it was. I'm pulling the plug on this mic, I think. Sorry, folks. I'm going to apologise now. We got a lot of feedback. We've got new mics that were supposed to make it all brilliant, and all we're getting is lots of feed. Do apologise, everybody. We will try and resolve the problem as quickly as we possibly can. Right. Yeah. So, yeah, we touched on that with the FA Cup. And like I say, I went to every round, and Villa Park, George Riley scoring against Villa was mad. Against Plymouth, that was mad, you know. So, yeah. But no, great memories. Great memories. Just on that, I mean, I know you got the FA Cup, but outside of, shall we say, the FA Cup, what's your most memorable moment in football?
Wow, probably being part of the under-21 side that beat Spain in the UEFA tournament, because we beat France in the quarterfinals, Italy in the semi-finals, and then we beat Spain. And the second leg of the match was at Sheffield United. I missed the first leg because of the cup final. So having lost the cup final, to go to Bramall Lane and win the under-21 cup was pretty special. And it's always nice when you're playing for your country. You know, it was nice to come out of that season having won something after the disappointment of Wembley. So, yeah, probably that, and getting up with Derby is up there with me. You know, that meant a lot, because when I got signed for Derby, I actually dropped out of a Watford side that were in the quarterfinals against Walsall. So everybody said, you know, that there's chance they could get to the cup final again. You're mad leaving them. You're dropping down the division. I think at the time we was about 9 points behind Birmingham, Portsmouth, who were the leaders. So people were saying, "Oh, you're mad dropping down the division," but I went down for half a season and I was back up again. So again, that was a great achievement for me, because anything could have happened with me going down there. So probably them two matches stick out for me.
Yeah, Dan.
Yeah, no, I was just going to ask you, that Everton team that beat you in the cup final, they was a top team, weren't they? I mean, they would have gone on to win the European Cup. I mean, if we was in Europe, I think. I think that's why there's so much resentment between Liverpool and Everton fans, because of that, because of the Heysel disaster. It stopped Everton being able to go into the European Cup, which, like you say, they had a really good side then. That side was very, very good. So, yeah, it robbed them of their opportunity of winning something. But yeah, Sheedy on the left wing, Gary Stephen on the right wing, Neville Southall,
Yeah, Andy Gray.
Was
Sorry,
Andy Gray?
Yeah, good side they were.
Was
Very
Lineker
good
in
side.
that team as well?
No, it was.
He came a bit late, didn't he?
Yeah, it was Adrian Heath, was it?
Another great player. Who was the best player you come up against? Have we said that? Was that Dalglish or the best, toughest opponent?
Yeah, it was Dalglish was the best player I've played against.
Toughest sort of hardest to get past.
Yeah, there was a few nutcases that left back for me, like Stuart Pearce, Mark Dennis, Pat Van Den Hal. He was a nutcase. Yeah. Oh dear! You didn't get much sleep at night before them matches.
Did you ever get the whisper in ear, if you come near me, or I'm going to break your legs? I mean, that went on all the time.
Stuart Pearce, when he was at commentary, it'd be up your back and he'd be going, "I'm going to break your legs next time." All you can hear is a lot of ball behind you with his feet rumbling. And back in them days, referees wouldn't even talk to defenders. They were more or less given 10 minutes to kick hell out here before the referees even had a word with them. So
the tackle from behind. I mean,
it was dangerous in them days.
Yeah. Simon, you got anything to add, mate?
Well, you do a bit of DJing now, Nigel. I know you've been DJing for a while. So if you weren't a footballer, is that where you see yourself as a DJ?
Well, I've been DJing for the last 30 years now, probably. I started at Watford, actually. And Graham knew I was doing it. I wouldn't do a disco on they had this rule of 48 hours before game, you're not allowed in licensed premises or stuff like that. So I would never do a disco before match. It was always on a Saturday night. And I just wanted to see how good I could get it, really. And it became sort of came a bit more than a hobby. So Taylor was okay with it. Then when I moved to Derby, I told Arthur about, my passion for music and stuff. And Arthur said the same thing, as long as you don't break the rules. And, I haven't got a problem with that. So it turned into be something good, because at the end of the day, when I finished with football, I had something to go into. Whereas I really wouldn't. I don't think I would have given any thought to what I was going to do after being a footballer. I was hoping I was going to stay in the game, but I got into the DJing, and I'm still doing it now, and I really enjoy it. And the one thing I've got to say is, when you're a footballer, you don't get many true friends. You get people that say they're your friends, but you don't really get them ones that really stand by you. When I got out of the game early, I actually started making more friends than I'd ever had in my life. Really good friends, and that's the side of football now. They get loads of money, but they're sort of they're in their own little bubbles now. They can't really mix socially because of camera phones and all that. Whereas we was allowed to mix with the supporters a lot more than you can now, if you know what I mean.
So what kind of music? What's the genre you play most or love playing most?
I play whatever I need to play. I mean, I'm in Mixcloud show. I always play everything apart from R&B and drum and bass. But when I've been working abroad in Corfu, I've been playing all the house music and all the dance stuff. When I'm back over here, I've been playing commercial and party. So it all depends on what the venues want out of you, really.
Yeah.
You must have got a few promos from Elton John back in the day, didn't you? A few.
No. No, it felt a bit embarrassed asking him for records, but no, you get the promos when you're over in the holiday islands and stuff like that. Or if you're a big DJ, you get the promos. But I weren't in that category at the time. So,
was you in charge of the music in the dressing rooms? Did you have music on? Someone have like a?
Yeah, I used to more or less sort out all the music, and then I used to have this ghetto blaster that I used to take on to the coach. Because back in the days, we had coaches with seats in and maybe 2 tables, and that was it. So all the young lads went to the back of the coach, and I put the music on, and the old lads stayed at the front of the coach, and that's how it was, really.
Did they have Watford have a cup song? Did they? Because everyone used to have cup songs, didn't they?
No, we couldn't believe it. We was the only club with a pop star for a chairman, and he didn't want to make a record with us. The song, the song that's out that just before the cup finals, the song that was in the charts was Elton John singing sad songs.
That's right.
So
Yeah, that's right. It didn't work, did it?
yeah, I think it was a bit sad after the cup final.
Yeah.
I was going to touch on something back with the cup final. When did he announce the team to the players? Did you know a day before, or did he keep it quiet and then let you know?
No, we knew who was playing more or less the week that we was training for it. So
I suppose the team was pretty set in stone every week, wasn't it? Though that Watford side, wasn't it? It was.
yeah. He's I think I played 41 games out of 42 that year. It was pretty much. I think the only question mark was over the left back position because of Will Foster getting sent off. So it was a case of, was he going to put Neil Price in and keep Kenny Jackett in midfield, or was he going to put Paul Atkinson in midfield and move Kenny to left back? So I think that was the only thing that he wasn't too sure about what he was going to do. That was his main decision, really. But I think the team after that spoke for itself, really.
Because you had a bit of an unfair label. Was it the long ball? But I mean, that was of its time, wasn't it? It was a big. It was really effective for you, wasn't it? I mean, it
wasn't a long ball. It was what he told us to put balls in the channels where we could cut the keeper off and we could close them down and win the ball back in the final third. Because he had games analysed. He said a lot of goals that were scored were by teams that won the ball back in the final third.
It's like they call it pressing nowadays, don't they?
Yeah, so it wasn't a long ball anywhere. It was like hit the ball into the channel between the penalty area and the touchline. So that way, it would have been Luther's job to cut the keeper off, and it would be mine or John's as the wingers to press up on the fullbacks, and the team all presses at the same time. You know, that's what it was. Just discipline, really. It was a way that we knew how to play and a way that worked. And it was a way that if somebody got injured on a Friday, the player who came in to take their place would know what he had to do. You know, it wasn't a case of, well, you know, I'm putting him into a position and he doesn't know what to do. All the reserves played the same way as the first team. I mean, we even had full-scale practice matches on a Friday. And that was like shin pads a lot, you know, and I'm playing against Neil Price. Neil, I might have been dragged to a ball with Neil. But Taylor's attitude was, if you get hurt on Friday, I'll just replace you with the other player. It's not a problem. So that's how he was at the club.
He was a pioneer, really, wasn't he, Graham Taylor?
He was what?
A pioneer of that style of football, and just to...
Yeah, he had this real, sort of battle with Howard Wilkinson at Leeds and Terry Venables at QPR, but Howard Wilkinson was like, he was the let's pass it 20 times before we score a goal man, you know, and he used to call Taylor the long ball team and stuff like that. So them having a pop at each other, it was just different styles of play. We knew what our strengths were, and we played to our strengths.
And you had John Barnes, I mean, one of the best wingers in the world, wasn't he, at the time? Yeah,
I don't think people like Howard didn't they didn't like that. But we had two good players at Watford, well, more than two good players at Watford. But you know, young players that weren't frightened of anyone, and that's what we were. We was fearless. You know, Howard Wilkinson was in charge of the under-21s when I got called up, and I was on the bench first two times. I wasn't even getting a look in, and then he went and Dave Sexton came in, and I played every game right away up to the cup final with Dave Sexton. So it was obviously Howard Wilkinson didn't fancy the Watford players, but he was told he had to pick us because we was in that good form. John went on to make the full international. So, yeah.
Nigel, you got really. I mean, obviously, you had a really bad time with illness, and that must have knocked you for six, mate, when it happened, didn't it?
Yeah. It was only through my arthritis. I went in. I really don't like going to doctors or hospitals. But I went in to get my arthritis sorted out because it was getting really bad. and they said, we're going to put you on these tablets. They're really strong, but we need to have you back for a couple of months at the end of each month to check your blood. And it was through that they discovered that I'd got colon cancer. And they said, we need to operate on it. And so I had the operation. They said it was successful, but I had to do 6 months on chemotherapy. And that's not nice, that stuff. And then at the end of it, I thought I'd come through it, and they said it spread to my liver. So I had to go in for an even bigger operation at the Queen Elizabeth. So I'm really, at that point, I'm thinking my time's up here. I'm not going to get through this, because they were saying if I had life assurance, I could have gone and cashed out on it, because I was in the sort of high bracket, terminal bracket. But they said, you're not terminal, but you're in that bracket with this operation. So they opened up my liver. They took about 3/4 of my liver out, about 74 stitches, I think. And then they wheeled me to the recovery room, and by 6 days after that, they were letting me go. The doctor said he couldn't believe how quick I was recovering for an operation that size. And after 6 days, I was back home. So I've had all the checks for the last 6 years after that, and they all came back okay. And so, touch wood, I've managed to get through it.
No, brilliant. It's
not the operations, that it's you do worry about the operations. It's not the operations that kill you. It's every 6 months when you go for a checkup, you think it's like playing Russian roulette. You don't know whether you got the gun with a bullet in it. You don't know whether they're going to say, sorry, it's come back and we can't get rid of it. And that's I actually walked out. I've been waiting for my appointment, and 5 minutes before I've turned around and walked out again, because I couldn't. It was playing games with the head. So, until you had it, you don't sort of understand everything that goes on within it, and it's the mind games. It's not even the operation half the time. It's just not knowing whether it's going to come back or not. So people ever wonder what it's like? There's two halves to it.
Yeah, I don't suppose we even look and consider that element of it. It's a case of, if you've not been there, like you say, and then like you're going back every 6 months playing Russian roulette, and that's got to have a massive impact on people's mental health as well. And we keep saying, people out there with the mental health issues, got to talk about it, folks. Don't hold nothing in. Talk to people. But yeah,
I managed to stay very positive throughout both operations and the after treatment stuff. I was very positive minded. I didn't think the worst, and I think that's what helped me a little bit. The fact that I didn't let it get to me, and people weren't coming up and patting me on the back all the time and asking me how I was. It was just I got on with my life. Got on with the recovery part of things, and I do think that sometimes if you worry too much, it can speed up the illness or whatever. So that's what I tried to do, really.
Folks, I've got to apologise. We still are having an awful lot of feedback, so we're not sure. I've even switched back to my old mic, and I'm still hearing a little bit of feedback coming from somewhere. So I don't really know what's happening tonight, guys, but certainly something ain't right. So I do apologise, folks, for that. I hope it's not actually taking anything away from this show. And what a great guest, Ian. Ian, where'd that come from? Nigel is proving to be. What we're going to do, because Nigel, you've got to leave us at 9:45 because you've got a show on tonight. Obviously on Mixcloud, people should check him out. It's great music from back in the day. He plays everything, don't you, mate? Absolutely everything. Fantastic.
Yeah, I take all requests. So it's not a radio show that sort of has a playlist that you play to. I'm just off the cuff each and every night. But the message board is the best part of that, because it's brought a lot of people together through the lockdown that may be on their own. and they made new friends on the message board, and they've actually got to meet some of them. But because we had a big reunion 6 months ago, something like that. So yeah, it's good. It's created a little community in there, and we all have a bit of a laugh and a bit of fun. And some people coming early, some people coming late, but I'm really enjoying it.
No, spot on. So look, what I'm going to do now, we're going to call up half time a bit earlier than what we were expecting, and the reason is like I say, Callie's got to leave us at 8:45. She's going to be leaving us a bit early. So what's coming up in part 2 of the show? We're going to be looking back at the wonderful 4th round of the FA Cup this year with lots of shocks and very near shocks, very near. And we're going to be talking a little bit of non-league. We're going to be looking at the Derby County situation, and we'll do that before Nigel leaves us and see what Nigel's thoughts are on that. We're not completely au fait with it, but we're going to touch on it. We're going to touch on the Kurt Zuma thing. Got no choice, really. It's on the tip of everyone's tongue at the moment, and I will give my thoughts, and I'm sure the lads will as well. Is it the end of the Yid Army? How does that come to an end? We'll talk more about that. Obviously, today it's been announced that Tottenham have ordered their fans not to use the terminology or the nickname that they have got, which is Yid Army. They're not. They won't even say it on TalkSport. It's the Y word. You know. Not. I won't even say it. I don't know. I was talking to my mate Gingy the other day, and he's getting very worried that he might have to be called Mr. G. You know, but there we are. Right, so we're going to move now. What we do at half time, folks, we started it last week. Little competition. Got a few questions on there, 5 in all. It's just a bit of fun, so you know you can just do it at home and do whatever. But if you do want to be announced the winner of any sort, our text line is back up and running. If you want to give us all 5 answers, the first person to give us them correctly, only on the text line, which is up there now, and it'll be on the question sheet that we put up for half time. You can just drop that text with your 5 answers. Make sure you put your name on that as well, otherwise I won't know who it is. But yeah, if you want to do that and have a bit of fun, do it. If you want to play at home, play at home. It doesn't matter. Everyone will be a winner. It's just a bit of fun. So we're going to go to half time. We'll be back in about 2 or 3 minutes. Up come the questions. I hope. There we go. Hey everyone, we're back. Oh, that noise. Where's that coming from? Where's this feedback coming from? Folks, again, just going to apologise. Don't know what's happening here, but we're getting some really bad feedback. Like I say, we're getting there. We'll learn. Right, okay. So no one's texted me, so we're just going to assume everyone has just played along at home. So we'll give you some of the answers to the questions. So question number one, which was, now I need to find them quickly. Right. There we go. Right. Question number one. England won the World Cup in 1966. Well, we all know that. Look at the back there. There they are. Look, the wonderful Bobby Moore holding up the cup. Right. Okay. But who won the FA Cup final? And the answer is Everton. Don't know why I put that one in there, but there we are. Everton. Hey, they beat us in 84 as well, as we've just heard. Right. And another Everton question. Who did Everton beat in the 1984 FA Cup semi-final, and where was it played? And the answer is it was played at Highbury, and it was against Southampton. And then Everton went on to the final with us, Watford, of course. Number three, who won the 1986 League Cup final? And the answer was Oxford United. Who would have thought that? Number four, what year was the Premiership formed? The corrupt Super League was formed, well, you all know how I feel about that, in 1992. And ever since then, lower league clubs have suffered. Number five, which club had the famous sloping pitch? Well, there may have been a number, but there was one famous one, and that was, well, guys, who was it? Who do you think it was?
Yeovil.
Was it Oxford? Oxford?
Barnet.
It was Yeovil. It was Yeovil.
Oh,
And there was
Jewish
they were
flag.
non-league. They were not. Yeah, they were non-league, and it was their old ground, and they used to always do a good cup run. The sloping pitch was quite famous.
With the wind behind it.
Right. Okay. So we're going to move along, and we are now going to talk about the wonderful FA Cup, the wonderful season we're having with the FA Cup this year, and obviously we've had a few upsets. Your thoughts on round four of the FA Cup, Dan?
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, me being a Palace fan, it was the one thing that the magic that's come out of the cup is that the relationship we've now got with Hartlepool fans. I see he was a Hartlepool fan on earlier when he was echoing my thoughts. Because our club, or Steve Parrish, our chairman, he what do you call it? Subsidised their coaches to come down. So I think it only cost them £12.50. He put a lot of money towards the coming down all the way from Hartlepool, and also the manager Graham Lee, I believe he is, and sadly his wife's suffering with cancer, a brain tumour. She's had for a couple of years now, and there's no really treatment for it. So they've searched the internet and found this drug which costs £5,000 a month to basically keep her alive, and it's worked for a year, and it does work. And they had a Just Giving. I think Simon's got a picture. There's a Just Giving page set up, but Palace put it on their Twitter page and shared it, and it's gone from 60,000 from the Friday before we played them up to 84,000. That's of today, and there's so many Palace fans have donated money towards it. So yes, they got raised £60,000 a year to keep her going. So I mean, it's a great. It's a really sad story, obviously, but it's great how the football community's come together. And I think Hartlepool are playing Crawley away on, I think it's Saturday, but there's a lot of Palace going to go down there and help them support Hartlepool. So like we've become each other's second team. So it's a nice story, and their fans are amazing as well. I mean, 4,700 come down. I don't know if we've got a video of them, but
Yeah, we got a little video of them outside your local supermarket, Dan. I'll put it on.
Scaring the shoppers.
Great scenes.
Yeah, no, I mean they're an amazing support at home anyway. Hartlepool, the atmosphere up there has been great all season. So, and I think there's sort of similarities with Palace's Selhurst ground as well, with the fans are quite vocal. And so it's a great bit of magic come out of the cup. But fortunately for us, we won 2-0. But no, that I think the story of the whole build-up over sort of shadowed. Well, was actually nicer than the result, if you know what I mean. It was just a great story. But yeah, loads of shocks. I think you two are going to touch on the shocks that happened.
No, it's brought the best out. Simon, what did you think to Kidderminster Harriers, mate? I mean,
Kidderminster. They didn't deserve it, did they? Really? You know what I mean? It'd been nice to see it go to penalties. You know what I mean? West Ham with the late equaliser in the game, was it 92nd minute, and then a late winner in extra time, wasn't it? So it was a shame. It'd been nice to see it go to penalties. I think they'd have had a chance.
Outstanding result, and obviously we're going to touch on the Boreham Wood result, and one of the things that definitely come out of the Boreham Wood win against Bournemouth was the manager had actually spoke to the manager of Kidderminster Harriers and said that game gave them heart going into the Bournemouth game, and look what happened there. Nigel, what isn't it great seeing a non-league side? I mean, Boreham Wood, local Watford side, should we say, or very close to. Great to see a non-league side going through in the cup, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not only to get to play the big grounds, but the money that they're going to get from a good cup run, especially when a lot of the non-league sides and the lower division sides they don't normally get past the second or third round. To see the likes of Boreham Wood, and you got Peterborough versus Manchester City, and there's some big sort of games there where you're not expecting the upset, but there's always a possibility of it. And probably the best result for Boreham Wood is if they can get a draw and bring them back to Boreham Wood, same with Peterborough. But yeah, that's the beauty of the FA Cup. You have to go to some of these grounds that aren't comfortable to play at. I think at the moment with the Premier League, the way it is in the stadiums, even the Championship, I don't think some of the grounds hold any fear for good sides anymore, because they're playing on billiards table pitches, and you don't go to the baseball ground anymore, or Millwall intimidating ground. So yeah, it's the FA Cup's been good this year. It's been good. It's not been predictable, but I think.
I mean, I mentioned there, guys, as well, with the fact that they took Chelsea to the wire as well into extra time. Great performance from Plymouth. And then obviously we've got Middlesbrough on the Friday night at Man United, which has caused a lot of euphoria. Get it out, boy.
Did you ever come up against any non-league teams in your time playing football in the cups?
I think we did play one team. I can't remember who it was, but it was. I think
was you involved in that Harlow game, Nigel?
That's the one, the Harlow, yeah.
4-3 at Vicarage Road.
I think so.
I mean, I'm going back now. This must be. And then the next round was Arsenal. Liam Brady playing.
I don't think I would have been playing in the first team at that time.
Yeah, I remember that one. Harlow Town 4-3. Massive, brilliant game. Local derby.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I always had this. I always had this belief that if we came up against a non-league side, we'd beat them. I didn't think we could lose to non-league sides. And fortunately, I've never been on the side that has lost to a non-league side. But you've got to respect them. Whether you're a Premier League side or a Championship side, it's their cup final. Every time they get through to the next round, it's their cup final again. And they're always going to raise the game probably more than you are, because they might never get that opportunity again.
Yeah. You see Declan Rice talking after the West Ham game. He was really great after what he said, but he said, I don't know what happens. You turn up, you're prepared for the game, and then you just, for the first 15 minutes, you're in the team's in a bit of shell shock, really. Although they're the big stars, but it just takes a while to get in the game, and then it's happened so many times, these shocks, isn't it? But that Kidderminster one would have probably been the biggest shock if they would have. I mean, I don't know, they didn't beat them. the last minute of the normal time, like Simon said, in the last minute of extra time, ready for penalties. But that would have ranked up there as one of the biggest shocks ever.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah.
No, just wait for the Everton match first.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, I think Lampard's got a lot of work to do there, isn't he? I think they had a good first result, and then Newcastle brought them back down to earth, I think. I think that's Boreham Wood going up there. That's near Watford, isn't it? Boreham Wood, is it?
Yeah.
It's not far, is it?
I've got to be honest here, but the Boreham Wood fan base have been getting some real stick on especially on Talk Sport, about the fact that they're doing really well this season as well. They actually potentially could become league status for them if they carry on the way they are. And they've come under some stick because they've been criticised the fact that they're only getting 800 or 900 attendances. I even heard it said that your fans all support Watford, which there would be some element of truth in some of that. I do know a few lads who share, but then most non-league clubs, they're people who've got their second teams or whatever anyway. But they have come under some level of stick. They've got one of the poorer attendances in that league, unfortunately, yet they're very successful. Hopefully,
more kudos to them.
It's going to do a world of good for them, and people will get out and support Boreham Wood, and get
I've got a little video of them celebrating. Shall I play it? Yeah.
Yeah. Go for it. It definitely looked like someone was heavily vaping then as well.
Was it me, Simon?
I'll be honest. One of the pluses for Boreham Wood that night was they're playing in a ground that pretty much feels like a non-league ground anyway, doesn't it? Bournemouth. They're actually bigger and better. Bournemouth. I don't like Bournemouth for some reason, but anyway, sorry Bournemouth, but no, I must admit their ground isn't very big, is it?
Forest was another big shock, wasn't it, against Leicester? They tore them apart, didn't they?
An amazing performance from Forest, but what a poor performance from Leicester as well. And that's not taken away from Forest. Brilliant, over the moon, but they did give him a good hammering. I mean, there's no question about it.
Good young players there at Forest, very good. I mean, I don't think we're going to touch on about the fan coming on and ask Nigel what it was like in the 80s. Did he experience anything when hooliganism is at his peak? I suppose in the 80s and 70s, wasn't it? Well, more the 80s when you played, but that was disgusting. That fan running on, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. There's no place in the game for that, but. He probably showed a bit more fight than Leicester did. No, we used to get hostile crowds when I played. Like I used to hate playing at Millwall at the Den, and to be honest, I didn't really like playing at the baseball ground as an opposing team. But I don't think the fans ever got to the stage where they'd run on and try and hit you.
What happened in 1982, Nigel, at Derby County at the baseball ground, last game of the season, we'd been promoted and Derby needed to win to stay up, and they got a 3-2 win against us, if you remember. Yeah. At the baseball, mate, didn't Steve Sherwood get a clump?
I got clumped.
You got clumped.
Yeah, they won.
That was naughty that day. I mean,
they ran onto the pitch and we just stood there, and I'm thinking, all right, they're on the pitch, they'll get off in a minute and we finish the game. And one of the fans gave me a whack around the head. So we went off temporarily and came back on again. And the funny thing about it was we sat on the coach outside and we're waiting for Graham Taylor to get on so we can get back to Watford. And I sat there talking to Bargy and a few lads. And I sort of said, oh, thank God I don't have to play at this shithole place every week. And then I joined him a year after, I think. So, but it was nice playing at a baseball ground, being a home side, and the support there was brilliant. And I did have the only part of the pitch that had any grass on it as well. So.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? But no, the fella that's got on the pitch. Do you know my thoughts on that are? Look, some of these idiots. We've sort of said about passion and all that, and we feel that they're taking football. They're trying to suppress the passion of fans, and they want you just to really sit there and watch the game and eat your popcorn. But I mean, people like him. And I'm going to call him for what he is. He's a fucking idiot. I'm sorry to swear him, but he is an idiot. You've got guys running on trying to tackle players. I think it happened at Stockport or Altrincham somewhere earlier on. Yeah. You had a guy come on and kick the ball out the penalty spot when they're going to take a penalty. These guys are giving enough ammunition for these people that want to suppress that sort of passion. These guys are giving them the ammunition to do it, and they've got to stop. They've got to wobble their heads. They're not clever. They're not being like the hero. They're actually screwing it up for everyone who wants to be that, have that level of passion. We know that there's a definite agenda there to quieten down the grounds, and maybe not with a noise level of fans cheering and that, but certainly that passion that overspills sometime. There's an element of overspilling the passion that, in my view, it can happen, but it ain't going to be able to happen if dickheads like him do what it was disgraceful, and it's only going to make all the fans suffer. And I hope
you see the way he was smiling. He was smiling. He was smiling, wasn't he?
He must have been out his bonds, mate. Yeah. He must have been. He's got to have been. I mean, you're right. He was walking away smiling, But
the Leicester fans have been playing up all day, haven't they? Running around the same centre and stuff. So.
Yeah, there's a documentary come out today. A chap who went with the police on the cup game, and they had their hands full. Leicester turned up in numbers to cause havoc, which they did, but getting on the pitch and trying to hit players or in a play, he actually made contact with him by looks of it, didn't he? Yeah. But no, not
to see what if he's charged with assault or just coming on the pitch or what he gets charged.
There's a line in there. I mean, you pay your money to get in, and you've got every right to shout at a player, criticise a player if he's not playing well. That's what you pay your money for, but it don't give you any right to get onto the pitch and try and have a go at someone, And they wouldn't expect, if they were working in their everyday workplace, they wouldn't expect you to come through the door and try and have a go at them. So, it don't give fans any right to do that sort of thing. It gives them a right to have an opinion, and it gives them a right to criticise if they want. But that's just overstepping it. And what happens if he's got a knife in his hand next time?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And
you touched on the point there, Carl. I don't know if we haven't touched on Zuma yet, but there's a lot of things overstepping the mark. There's no morals, seem to be morals in the top of the game. There's no there's like that. I know it's probably more of a social thing, but there's no morals for a club to play Zuma when he shouldn't have even been on the pitch. There's no morals from all over football, is there?
Let's touch on that subject now then. Now we've brought it up. Let's touch on the subject. It's the elephant in the room. You can't get away from it. Wherever you look, it's the subject. Kurt Zuma, I can't bring myself to watch the video. I'm a big animal lover, and I don't like seeing animals that are dependent on human beings, being treated like that. And he's not the only bloke in this country, or person, should I say, in this country treats animals badly. But what he did was morally so wrong. And I think, the thing for me was the fact that I don't think an apology is I'm sorry. He ain't interested. He showed where his moral values are by thinking it was okay. And he thought it was okay because he allowed that video to be filmed. His child was involved. That just put the marker up for where his moral compass is. Apology ain't going to mean nothing to the fellow. He's got very low morals. It's quite clear. He can apologise all day long. For me, that's a waste of time. They fined him 2 weeks' money, and this is where I'm going to say something now. 2 weeks' money, and £250,000. These players, Nigel, back in the day, mate, you guys were what you were, but these guys now, mate, they don't even live on the same planet as the rest of us. The money is obscure. You know, I don't know, because it's doing this show or being involved now with prop football, we look into these things, we sit down and we actually think about it. Mate, there ain't massive, like, unless you're involved in a real big conglomerate, these players dwarf any high-ranking director of a company's wages. These guys are earning money that's just not realistic anymore. And I just don't think they live in a young guy. That money's going to change him. I don't care what they say. There are a few level-headed fellas out there. I think there's one Liverpool lad who almost supports his village back out in Africa. Fair play, and I'd tip me hat to you. And there are a few level-headed guys, but sorry, I think as it gets worse and worse, as the outrageous wage demands grow. I mean, this is Kurt Zouma. He's a defender at West Ham United. He's earning £125,000 a week. It'll take a normal working man about 5 lifetimes to get anywhere near what that guy's going to earn.
Yeah.
I think he's going to lose a lot of things now. Though. I mean, they're on about he could actually get prosecuted by the French government or whatever it is, and that carries a 5-year prison sentence. They could actually prosecute him while he's in another country. You know, West Ham have now lost sponsorships.
Yeah,
vitality. You know, there's going to be pressure on shareholders now to say, look, you know, what's happening. I think he's just watching his football career possibly going up in smoke. You know, 3 days ago, he was living life of luxury. You know, now it could be over. But the way they're talking about it, I don't think there won't be a lot of sympathy for him because, you know, there's no excuse for that at all. I mean, what the cat ever done to him?
Yeah, and West Ham have doubled down on it by letting him play. I couldn't believe he played. I thought he'd come on as a sub, which is bad enough. And then I see he played, and I just thought they've just shown different.
I think they left the decision up to Moyes, and I think that was wrong. Like that was passing the buck. The person at the top of that tree at West Ham should have went. I'm saying now he's not playing. I think they've done a lot of damage for West Ham Football Club by letting him play.
It has been a massive PR disaster for them.
Yeah. You know, at
the end of the day, I think again the point being more than anything else is that these football players are looked up to as some sort of inspirational. You know, they look to these players and these young kids, and I've heard it said numerous times over the last couple of days, there are children now will think that that's funny to go around kicking the cat around the kitchen. And that's where these football players have to wake up and realise, stop sulking. You're earning more money than probably, no government people would ever earn anywhere near what these guys are earning. No. They are now in a bracket that is put them in a stratosphere.
I think train drivers. I think the problem is like it's the position West Ham are in the league at the moment, which they've never been in that position. And again, football's become a business now. There's no family clubs, not unless you go down lower. All right, it's everything at the top, from the Championship up to the Premierships, a business. And they've obviously looked at that and gone, we're fourth in the league or wherever they are. We can get into the European Champions Cup this year. You know, we really need him in the side. So is that going to be more important than doing the right thing for them to get into Europe? And that's what they've shown the people. They've just shown that winning and the success of the club is more important than doing the right thing.
But you could compare it to, say, who's the guy at Chelsea, Lukaku, when he spoke out against the club. I know it's like nothing on the level with. He spoke out about his own club, and then they took him out the side. So I just can't see. I can't believe West Ham didn't take him out of the picture for a week. But I know they're probably thinking it'll be old news in a couple of weeks. But I think it's a long, like you just said, Nigel. It's a long-term damage. They're going to lose sponsorship. That's a lot of money.
I must admit, I heard someone put a bit of perspective on that and said he was glad they did And there's some merit in what this guy said. He said, because, as I've already said, you know what? An apology means nothing. He's shown his moral compass. That guy ain't going to change. He is where he is. His morals are what they are. The fact that he thought it was okay to do it and film it and not think, that shows you where his morals are, lower than low. So the point being is, a fine, even though it's £250,000, again, to these guys, it's nothing. It's 2 weeks' wages to you, Dan. If you're earning £300 a week, it's a £600 fine. Let's be realistic. It's the only thing that's good from that is that the charities will gain, animal charities will gain a good windfall. That's great news. But maybe the punishment, unless they're going to prosecute, and let's face it, if they prosecute people for mistreating animals normally, which I think they do, then this guy should be prosecuted and dealt with in exactly the same way. I'm not saying the man should lose his job, but he should be prosecuted. But the man will be punished by the people, because just like that night, he was booed every time he touched the ball. And I don't care. I heard how loud that. I wasn't at the game. I heard how loud that booing was, and that weren't just Watford. Unless Watford had 10,000 there, which they didn't. Right, that booing was proper loud, and I know a lot of West Ham also were trying to support him a bit as well. But that booing was really loud, and the people will punish him every game. Mate, I don't know how he's going to go to an away game. But the only thing I'm going to say quickly now, as well, the selfishness of what's happened is that night was about Isla Caton. That night was a tribute to Isla Caton, and the whole game ended up with a lot of booing going on because of this guy. And that's such a shame that the tribute West Ham done, that great tribute to Isla that night, has been marred to a degree by the fact that it's been overshadowed by this bollocks, And that's a real shame. That is a real shame because,
As Vicky just said, they've announced today that he won't be playing any competitive games at least till the investigation is over. So why play him every night then?
But let's be honest, how long does it take to investigate that?
There
you go, it's black and white.
You get suspended pending further inquiries. Any job you get taken off what you're doing if you've done.
Yeah,
his brother's been sacked. Has his brother been removed?
They've had a petition at is it Bournemouth he plays for? His brother. They've had a petition. They've had a petition to get him out of the club, haven't they?
Yeah, that's right.
60,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
Not bad for a club to only get 900. Sorry, Bournemouth, we love you, really.
It's mad to think that, you can lose everything you worked so hard for to be a footballer. You can lose it all by some stupid thing that you've done and, decided that you can do that because you've got the fame and, well, if it cost me £1,000, I'll pay the £1,000. Like you say, it doesn't matter to them. I was on 750 at Aston Villa. That was the most money I was ever on, 750 a week, and that was good money in them days. But the amount they're getting now is ludicrous.
Oh, and this is the problem. And if you look at the problems in football, and you look at it and think, well, hang on a minute, the amount of money involved and everything else. Why is that amount of money involved? It's because of the players. It's the players that will eventually bring football down, in my view, because of their wage demands, and having to earn the money they are. Clubs can't be sustainable for a club. I mean, we've only got to look at what's happened at Barcelona.
Yeah. But that's because Spain brought in a change in the rules, which is like a wage cap, which they should do here. It should be like a wage.
The problem is we know that the governing bodies, all governing bodies, including the FA, including the EFL, whatever they're called, including FIFA, UEFA, they're all corrupt as fuck. And they do you know what I mean? It's like they are not fit for purpose, because the only way you can control it has to be across the board, because you can't have one country paying out all the money and getting all the players. If you're going to wage cap, it's got to be an agreed amount of money across the board in every country. Then that way it's a fair playing field. Otherwise, it becomes an unfair playing field. And but I think it's gone too far. And I can't morally even go to a Premiership game at the moment. I just don't want to get behind these people. They're ludicrous money, ludicrous.
Yeah. It's run by agents now, mate. That's what it is. That's where the wages are coming. These agents, like back in my day, Taylor never wanted to deal with agents because of what they are. So, like everything a player earns now, the agent's lobbing his commission on. You know, the player's not happy. The agent's already touting his name around different clubs for a move. And the wages that players are on at the moment, if they're not happy with a manager, they go straight past the manager and go straight to the chairman. I mean, there's no way I'd get a transfer request to the chairman at Watford without it going through Graham Taylor. And now, if someone like Pogba's cost 95 million and he's not happy with the manager, he'll go to the chairman and say, I want to move. I can't play for this manager.
Nigel, sorry, Joe, I'm going to interject very, very quickly because I just wanted to collar Nigel on one last thing because I know you've got to go now. So, I mean, one thing about the West Ham situation is, again, I feel sorry for the fans because it's the fans that suffer. Derby, we're in that situation with Derby that almost a club of that size possibly going into liquidation. Again, the people that suffer are the fans for the behaviour of management, of governing bodies and everything else that's corrupting football. And it's the fans. Nigel, I know you've got to go, mate. Just give me any sort of thought, because you must feel it. You know a lot of Derby supporters. They must be in a hell of a place at the moment, and you're close to Derby, aren't you? I mean, what's your feeling on it all? Yeah,
the pub that I do the disco in on Saturdays is called the Neptune, and that's a proper Derby County bar. But it's worrying, but it's brought the club, it's brought the crowd a lot closer to the fan base. I think, and Rooney's done a brilliant job there. I think he's come out of it with a lot of respect. The players have shown a lot of fight. I think there's things going on behind the scenes that are being kept secret, and they need to be made public. And it's such a big town and a big football club, Derby. It'd be criminal if they did go out of business. There's 30,000 the other week. There's got to be a solution to it. But again, I think that was caused by, like you say, bad management with the money. Yeah. And Mel Morris is in a position where I think he could help Derby at the moment, but for some reason he don't seem to want to do it. I don't know too much about the financial side of things, but the Derby fans are brilliant. They've been O's behind Derby, but I think that even more so now, and they're believing in the team because the team have actually got a chance of still staying up. Whereas at the start of the season, nobody gave them a home in hell. And I think that helped them in a little way because they could play without any pressure on them because everyone was expecting them to go down. But now they're in a position where, they play Middlesbrough on Saturday and they're the ones that are causing all the problems for Derby. So that's going to be a bit of a niggly match, I would imagine.
Just before you go,
sorry?
Just before you go, I'll just quickly let you go now. Just to say that it has been announced yesterday that Mel Morris has now said, come after me, not Derby, take me to the High Court, to both Middlesbrough and Wycombe Wanderers, and deal with me. So now, how that is going to pan out, how the fans feel about it. If we've got any Derby fans on, maybe they'll give us a shout. We've got a Damo, is it? McDermott, I think he obviously follows you, Nigel. Is that a genuine offer, and is that going to open up the floodgates for someone to come in? And Derby fans, would you be happy with Mike Ashley? That's an interesting one. Would you be happy with him? I don't know.
I'll tell you what, he looks after his money though, Mike Ashley, doesn't he? So I don't think Derby would have got into financial troubles with him in charge. But
no,
they just need to get it sorted out. So if we go down this year, we start afresh next year, we try and get back up again. And that's what Wayne really needs at the moment. But he's not getting him answers at the moment. Nobody's letting the club know what's going on. Players are getting sold behind his back, and it needs to be sorted out.
Nigel, I know you got to go, mate. Thanks for coming on, mate. You've been brilliant as you have been before for me, and I'm hoping that maybe you can come on again this time, not about you, but come on as part of the panel and talk about topical subjects with us.
I'd love to.
Yeah, brilliant. No, great having you on, mate. I'm going to let you go. We're going to carry on. We're going to carry on a little bit about non-league now, but enjoy your show tonight, and I'll be in touch with you very shortly. And yeah, come on as a panel member in the future.
All right, mate. I'd love to.
Yeah, brilliant.
All right.
We'll have a good show tonight.
Cheers, Nigel. Thanks,
Thanks,
mate.
Nigel.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Take care, mate.
Right, folks. So yeah, Derby County in a mess. Wayne Rooney doing a fantastic job, an unbelievable job. Wayne Rooney's doing.
He's been brilliant, hasn't he? I mean, the stuff he's paid out for himself, and he knocked down Everton as well. He's beloved club, and he refused to talk with him. So you've got to have massive respect for him.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Massive respect for him.
So,
just don't wear long studs. That's the only thing he's let himself down with this week, isn't he?
What a boo-boo, Mr. Rooney. That was I mean,
he's only being honest, wasn't he?
For those who don't know what we're talking about, Wayne Rooney this week has publicly referred to the fact that a particular game, he wanted a bit of payback, so he chose the longest studs he could and actually wanted to go out and hurt somebody.
Hurt someone, yeah.
Really, really got to say that was ridiculously stupid of him. But anyway, listen, we got 10 minutes, folks. Why have I got the feeling that we've resolved our playback problem?
With the feedback.
Yeah, whether that's whether Nigel's setup is causing that feedback, but we seem to have gone all right now. Okay, so look, we really want to spend next 10 minutes on our non-league focus, and I'll tell you what, you kick off, Dan, and give us a bit of insight into the FA Vase and FA Trophy, which is being played this weekend.
Yeah, it is. It's a last week we had the FA Cup, but this week it's like massive fifth round of the FA Vase and FA Trophy. So the FA, for people who don't know, the FA Vase is that's when they got on the screen there. It started in '74 and it was restricted to clubs in the 9th and lower tiers of the English Football League system. So there could be like a village team, a chance of playing in the national final at Wembley. But there's some level of conditions and regulations that the club have got to conform to. So there's a few funny restrictions your club's got to be. So you must have possible for spectators to view the pitch either standing or seated for the full length of two sides of the playing area. What else you got to have? You got to have the pitch must be the rail around the pitch must be no lower than 1.1 metre. There has to be a clubhouse, which is open to serve refreshments. The two covered trainers boxes have to be marked clearly with home and away for the visitors. It must be provided on both sides, on the same side of the pitch. There's loads of little weird sort of things, but I suppose that's when you go up through the non-leagues. People have to develop their grounds and make them better. But this does give a lot of the really small, tiny teams a chance to get to Wembley, like I say. So the first FA Vase winners were Hoddesdon Town from the Spartan League, with front of 9,000. They made the record attendance for the Vase final was at the newly opened Wembley with 36,000 with Truro City against AFC Tottenham. And the Wembley, they've now played both the FA Vase and the Trophy at the same time. So they do it back to back on the same day. And there was 47,000 there in 2016, which is amazing. And the only team to have won it and gone on to play in the Football League is Forest Green Rovers, who are flying in the second division, Simon, isn't it? Same as Bristol Rovers.
Yeah, League 2, yeah.
And the winners get 30,000, and the runners-up get 15. So I think you could put them teams up again, so because there's the teams in it. I think the two lowest ranked, they're in Tier 10, Abbey Hay and Stansford, both in Tier 10, which is...
I got the right one up.
No, that's the one near the Vase. There we go. Yeah, so that's like 5 divisions below the National League. So, I mean, really small clubs. But, that's the FA Vase. We go into the FA Trophy. Then you get the big boys coming from the National League. And that's 4 divisions. So it's the National League and the 3 tiers below it. And where we go. So that was started in '69 to cater for the non-league clubs that paid their players and therefore not eligible to play in the amateur cup. So they started.
You've got 2 minutes, Dan.
All right, mate.
Sorry, mate. Yeah. 2 minutes. We've got a last bit to get in. Go on.
You throw me there, mate. So
it was deliberate.
Previous winners there were Scarborough. They've won it 3 times. Woking, Scarborough, and Telford. Scarborough and Telford no longer with us, which is a shame. And the winners.
Telford, mate. They're Telford.
AFC Telford, that is. They're a Phoenix.
They're a Phoenix club, right? Okay.
Yeah, some big games, all Championship, all National League ties in that. You've got Halifax, Notts County, Wrexham, Borehamwood. They're in the last 16 as well, so they're smashing that cup as well. But the lowest ranked team, I do believe, I think they're Morpeth, and there's another team called Needham Market, and they both play in bigger sides. So yeah, that's this weekend.
That's a big game, that Wrexham Borehamwood, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hollywood versus Glamour of the Cup. Right, okay, listen, sorry to rush you along there, mate. We've got a few minutes left to finish things up. So just want to reflect on what we did Saturday. So it was a bit of we had a plan to do what we are calling proper football away days. And this is where the idea is we will visit a club. We will talk to fans. We will look at the stadium, hopefully talk to someone within the club, manager, owner, whatever, maybe even get to talk to players. This would be non-league, lower league. You know, we're even thinking about going to Ireland, going to Scotland, Wales, to the Welsh league sides, and give people an insight into clubs, grounds that maybe they don't know a lot about. You know, we all know about Man United and we all know about Leeds United and Middlesbrough, but we don't know about Bangor City, for instance. So that's the idea. So a bit of a knee-jerk reaction from me was to, I knew Boatsy and his lot were going down Colton Town to play Histon, which weren't a million miles away from me, and I went down there. And on our website, on our website that will be soon, but on our YouTube channel, you'll see there's a sort of mini, not documentary, but a mini away day trip to Histon. Have a look at that. That's the format of what we're looking to do. I enjoyed myself, I must admit. It was great going, lovely little ground. Shame that they've slipped down the scales a bit, but they both play in the Northern Premier Midland Division. And Histon Town are pretty much at the bottom, but they got a 2-0 win over Colton Town, who are sitting in 6th spot. But no, we're looking to do this on a regular basis. And I guess what we're saying to people is, if you want us to come visit your club and do that, because great promotion for the club, you know, it really is. If you want us to do it, get in touch. You've got the email address there along the bottom of there. Get in touch and you know, invite us along to your club. And we'll happily look to paying you a visit and giving your club some exposure. So that's proper football away days. We were going to talk a little bit more about that league, but we're pretty much towards the end now. So AOB, how did you find Nigel, Dan? He's a great guy.
I found him on the internet. No, he's a lovely. He's a really lovely fellow. We spoke to him before, didn't we, on the radio we used to be on? And really nice bloke. And he's part of the old proper football, the old school football, approachable, nice people, not in a big bubble. And loves his music and all, but like we all do. So really nice fella, and love to have him back on here.
Oh yeah, definitely as part of the panel, just to talk about, you know, because there will come a point with our shows that we will have guests revisit, and we won't be doing half a show about them. We'll be doing a show about topical things, and that's probably not far away. That because it's needed. We don't, you know, there's so much to talk about in the world of football, and we'll always give a different perspective to most people as well. You know, and. No, I must admit, you know, his battle with cancer and all that. I mean, it's just got an interesting story there. It's just a bit of an eye opener, that. And I never actually considered about what he said, like Russian roulette every 6 months, you know, and
constantly on your mind. What's going on inside? It must be.
I guess, Simon, your personal situation at the moment, it sort of hit home a bit, maybe, you know, with what you're having to deal with at the moment. And it's we're definitely getting back on. Simon, you know, how you found the show this week? I mean, anything you want to add?
Nigel was a fantastic guest, wasn't he?
We just got to sort out his equipment because obviously we found the glitch. I've even plugged my new mic back in. So clearly we found the glitch there. It wasn't anything to do with us.
Nigel had a dog and didn't realise.
Yeah, I don't know what that was all about. Anyway, but something I'm sure we can talk to him about, and we're definitely getting back on the show. So I guess it's going to be goodbye now, isn't it, to everyone? Yeah. We're gonna wrap up now. So from me, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for watching, should I say, listening, watching. Thank you for that. Sorry about all the technical issues there. We did get to the bottom of it in the end. We had to get rid of him, but there we are. But no, please join us again next week. We haven't announced the guests yet, but we will do in good time. Again, we didn't do it, but please share. You know, we've got this show will come up on Facebook. If you see this show, share it to everyone for us. Please subscribe
to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You know, there's a lot going to be going on with that, and big announcements about the website will be coming out very, very shortly. And that's really all exciting stuff. But please let your friends and family know all about what we're trying to do. And again, we're trying to promote proper football as we see it. And the football away days is going to be, I think, really good moving forward, chaps, isn't it? And we've got plans already for some clubs. But please, if you want us to visit your club, as long as it ain't Man United, we ain't going there. And well, unless you want to lay on a box and all that, and
FC United, maybe.
Yeah, FC United. Yeah, no.
Look, anyone get in touch with us? Get involved at properfootball.co.uk if you want us to come and see your club, whatever level. I mean, we'll come and have a look and have a look around the ground, have a chat with your chairman, the manager. Obviously lower levels, and
definitely without doubt, it's definitely without doubt great promotion for your club. Let us know, get involved, be safe, have a lovely week, and we'll see you all next Thursday.